So my shortcut that I was talking about in the first video, that's what we're going to do. So here's the deal. I'm going to multiply by 10. I'm going to multiply by a tenth, which is that fraction. We're even going to challenge and go 100 and 100th. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this number and we're going to multiply by 10. So let's just look at the first one. Here's the deal. What I know is when I multiply by 10, the number's got to get bigger. Well, for the number to get bigger, I need these numbers to move that direction. To do that, my decimal has to go this direction. So we know that 16, let's just call it $16.54, right? Because I have a decimal right there. To get that bigger, I just pick up the decimal, move it this way, and it becomes $165. So that decimal matters, okay? So what I'm going to do is when I do that, when I multiply by 10, I'm just simply going to pick up my decimal and move it to the right, however many zeros I am multiplying by. So I'm going to pick up my decimal, and it's going to move over one time this way because I have 1 0. So my number is equal to 165.48 now. Okay, so 165 and 48 hundredths. So 16 and 548 thousandths times 10 becomes 165 and 48 hundredths. All right, so the number is getting bigger. My decimal is going to move to the right. The decimal is going to move to the right to make the number bigger. So we're going to try that again. So times 10, I've got to move my decimal this direction. So I'm going to pick it up how many times? Well, there's 1 0. So I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to move it one time this way. So it's going to equal 223 and 5/10. Okay, so that number's getting bigger because my decimal is moving to the right. So same theory. I need my number, I'm multiplying by a fraction, so my number is going to get smaller. It's kind of like dividing. So I'm going to pick up that fraction and I'm going to move it this direction, however many zeros are here. So I'm doing by 1/10. I'm going to pick up that decimal and I'm going to move it this way one time because there's 1 0, and it is equal to 0.819 or 819 thousandths, right? So kind of like if I have $8.19, okay, and I divide it by my 10 friends or multiply by 1/10, it's going to give me about 81 cents per friend, maybe 82 cents. But remember, this is our pennies, our hundredths, okay? So same thing, I'm multiplying by a tenth. My decimal has got to move what direction? To the left. So the number gets smaller. There's 1 0 there. So I'm going to move it one time. So that $10 is really now going to turn into 1.007. And I can't drop off any of my zeros. I have to put what the number says. All right, so times 10. My number is going to get bigger. So I'm going to pick up my decimal and go to the right with it. How many zeros? 1. So I'm going to go this way one time. So it equals 456. Okay, and we proved that mathematically earlier, but this is just a shortcut of moving your decimal to make those numbers work. This only works when you're multiplying by a power of 10. So a 1 with zeros. You can just pick up your decimal and move it. Okay, so here I'm multiplying by 10. So my decimal, I've got to make my number bigger. So my decimal is going to go this way. So I'm going to pick it up. There's 1 0 there. So pick it up, move it one time. It's going to equal 827 and 5/10. So if I take $82.75, I'm going to prove it right here. Okay. If I take $82.75, because that's what I had right here, that was money, and I times that by 10, well, that's 0, 0, 0, 0, move over. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 7, 7, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 8 is 8. My decimal is 1, 2, 1, so 8, 2, 7, 5, 0. And then my decimal goes over 2 times 1, 2. $827.50. 50 cents because I could have put a 0 there, right? Or 5 dimes, 5 tenths. So see, we proved it right here for this one. All right, so I'm timesing by a fraction, 1/10. My decimal has got to move this way to make my number smaller. So I'm going to pick it up. It's going to move over. How many zeros are there? 1. So it's going to move over 1 time. So it's going to equal 0.73. So same thing, if I start out with $7.30 and I divide it by my 10 friends or multiply by 1/10, we're all going to have 73 cents. Okay. Here, this is the challenge. Times 100, well, my number is going to get bigger. So my decimal has got to move this direction to make my number bigger. Well, this time I have 2 zeros. So I'm going to pick that decimal up and I'm going to move it 1, 2. So that's going to equal 3909, then the decimal. I can put a 0 there if I want, right? $39.09 times 100 would give me $3,909 if that was money. Okay, so same thing. What if I'm multiplying by 100th with the THS, the fraction? Okay, it's going to get smaller. So my decimal's got to go that direction to make it get smaller. And how many zeros are there in that 100? 2 of them. So I'm going to pick it up and go 1, 2. So I get 0.448. Okay, so same thing. It's going to get smaller because it's a fraction. That means my decimal is going that direction. There's 2 zeros there. So 1, 2. Uh-oh. I have a hole with nothing in it. That means I have to put a 0 in the hole. So it's 0.063211. Okay, so that's your challenge. So my numbers are getting bigger. My decimal has to move to the right. When my numbers are getting smaller, they have to move to the, my decimal moves to the left when my numbers are going to get smaller. All right. You have this paper on your desk. What I want you to do is cut out each of these little problems, and we are going to practice, and this is going to go in your math log. So I'm going to cut this out real quick. I'm going to pause your video and then cut this out. Okay, we are not gluing these until we have written on them. So you have all of your, there's 5 little problems we're going to do, and then we're going to glue them into our math log into notes for multiplying decimals. So here's the first thing I want you to look at. I want you to identify each part of this number. So 3 and 524 thousandths. Well, we understand that that is 3 times 1. Okay? Here, this is 5. What place value is that? Tenths. So really it's 5 times a tenth, which is 0.5. Okay, so if it was just that number, it'd be 0.5. Here I have the 2 is in the hundredths, so that's like 2 times 100th, or 0.02, because the 2 is in the hundredths place. Okay, here that 4 is in the thousandths. Well, that would be 4 times 1,000ths, or 0.004. Okay, so we took each of this number and we broke it down to its place value. All right, flip that over out of your way, and then I would like you to go to this one right here. All right, we are not gluing till we're done writing. We're not writing on top of glue. I have my decimal numbers, and I want you to multiply them by 10, and then I want you to multiply this same number by a tenth. Okay, so 0.3, I'm multiplying by 10. The number is going to get bigger, so the decimal has got to go this direction. When the number gets smaller, the decimal's got to go this direction. So I'm going to pick it up. How many zeros are in 10? 1 of them. So 30 cents or 3 tenths times 10. Well, pick it up, move it over. It's going to become 3.0. Okay. Same number, I'm multiplying by a tenth. My decimal is going to go this direction. If I have 30 cents and I split it up between my 10 friends, we're all going to have 0.03 or 3 cents now. Okay, same thing, 10 times. My number's going to get bigger, right? I have 7 pennies right here, 7 cents. Well, if I times that by 10, I now have 70 cents. My decimal is going that direction, so I have 0.7 now, or 0.7 if you like that better. So now I have, and I can put a 0 here to make it look like money, 70 cents. So times 100, well, my decimal is going to move this direction. So I'm going to go back to where that decimal is. Times a tenth, there's 1 0 there. So I'm going to pick it up. I have 7 pennies, but now my number's got to get smaller because I'm multiplying by a fraction. So I'm going to pick it up and it's going to go this direction. So it's going to equal 0.007. Times 10. I have 9 pennies. I times it by 10. Now I have 0.9. 9 tenths. I can add zeros there to make it better. 90 cents, right? 9 cents times 10 is 90 cents. Okay. Here, I have 0.09. I have 1 0 in the 10 right there for that tenth. So I'm going to pick that decimal up and I'm going to go this direction with it. So it becomes 0.009. Again, my decimal moves that direction. Here, my number's going to get bigger. I have 10 cents. I multiply it by 10. It's going to become 1.0 or 0 or 1.0 or 1 with nothing. 1, right? If this is 10 cents right here, if I give you 10 cents and I times it by 10, you now have $1 or just 1. If I take that same 10 cents and I multiply it by a tenth, it's going to get smaller. So 10 cents divided by my 10 friends, it's going to go this way. Now we all have 0.01 or we all have 1 cent. Okay, move that out of the way. Go to your next one. Let's look at this. Doing the exact same thing. You're practicing these. On this one, I want you to pause the video and see if you can do these 3 by yourself and then start the video back up to check yourself. So here are my answers. And again, this, so 3 cents times 10 is going to give me 30 cents. Okay. So, or 3 tenths. So here I have 3 hundredths. I times it by 10, I get 3 tenths. But if I take that 3 hundredths and I times it by a tenth, well, now I have 3 thousandths. I don't even have 3 pennies. I have a little bit of money. Here I have 10 cents. Times it by 10, I get $1. I can have that decimal right there if I want, or I don't have to have it. It's at the end. Or I take 10 cents and I times it by a tenth, same as dividing it by 10. I have now 1 penny each. I had 10 cents. Here I have 7 cents. I times it by 10. Now I have 0.7 or 7 tenths or, right, 70 hundredths, so 70 cents. Or if I times it by a tenth, okay, same as dividing it by 10, I have 0.007 or 7 thousandths. All right, go to the next one. Put this one up. Same thing. I want you to pause the video. I want you to try these. See if you're getting them right, and then start the video back for your answers. I want you to pause it. Do not just write down what you see me write. Pause it and try them. Okay, so here are my answers. Here I have 8 hundredths. Times it by 10, I get 8 tenths. When I have 8 hundredths, I times it by a tenth or divide it by 10, same thing. I would get 8 thousandths. Okay, I have, let's think of money here. Right here I have 5 tenths or 50 cents. If I times it by 10, now we have $5. And I can have that 0 there at the end to make it look like $5. That's up to you. Or if I take that 50 cents and times it by a tenth, which is the same as dividing it by 10, now I have 5 cents each. I have 20 cents, times it by 10, I have $2. Do I have to have that decimal there? No, I don't. But I can. I could have 2.0 or 2.00 or just a 2. Okay. And then 20 cents times a tenth or divided by 10 would be 0.02. 6 cents times 10 would give me 60 cents, right? 6 pennies times it by 10, you would have 6 dimes, 60 cents. I can put the 0 there if I want. Or 6 cents times a tenth, which is times it by that fraction, or dividing it by 10, same thing, 0.006. Your last one to try, you're going to try it. So pause the video and see if you can get them right. And then the answers will be there, and then we'll put it in our math log. So here are my last set of answers. Right here, 6 cents times 10 is going to give me, or 6 hundredths times 10 is going to give me 6 tenths. 6 hundredths times a tenth, or divided by that 10, or times that fraction, right, is going to give me 6 thousandths. 9 tenths times 10 is going to give me 9 ones. So 90 cents times 10 is going to give me $9. And then 9 tenths times a tenth, or that fraction, which is like divided by 10, you're going to give me 9 pennies. Okay, if I have 90 cents and divide it by my 10 friends, we all have 9 pennies. That 0.3, or 3 tenths, times 3 is going to give me just, times 10 is going to give me 3. So I can have my decimal there if I want. I can make it look like money. 30 cents times 10 is going to give me $3. Okay. Or times it by a tenth, it's going to give me 3 cents. So this, right, 3 cents is smaller than 30 cents. So it's getting smaller. And then 8 cents times 10 is going to give me 80 cents. I can put that 0 there to make me feel better. 8 pennies, or 8 hundredths, times a tenth is going to give me 8 thousandths. All right, so in your math log, I would like you to go to your table of contents. And so you put in properties today. Let me fix that. So like this. Today is 10/25. You are going to write in thousandths, or multiplying by, let's see, how do I want to title that? Let's go ahead and title it multiplying times 10 and a tenth. So multiply times 10 and 1/10. It's going to go in the notes section, and then whatever page you're on. Okay. So I'm going to flip to my notes section, wherever I'm at, whatever page I'm at. And then I want you to glue them in your math log. Glue them in. So I'm on page 28. I'll put that down. I want you to glue them in just like this. So with this one right here on top, the one that we just, and then just glue them in side by side, just like that. So we just did some practicing. And then real quick, I just want you to write at the bottom, multiplying by a 10, decimal moves to the right. Oh, you can't see that. So you're gluing those in, and then multiply by 10, decimal moves to the right. I put an arrow to the right. The number gets bigger. Okay. Multiplying by a tenth, or that fraction, decimal moves to the left. The number gets smaller. All right, perfect. So you've labeled that in your math log. So now you should be at your try it. Hey, so real quick, I told you to go to your try it, but I forgot to tell you to go ahead and glue in your place value chart as well. So you have a half a sheet. I want you to just glue that in. So after you glued in this, I also want you to glue in your place value chart and then put that in the table of contents as well. So this that we wrote on a while ago, glue that into your math log as well. All right, thank you.